Hi, guys.
What's up?
You guys are supposed to say hello.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi, Coach Mac. We are just around the corner from our start. We're very, very excited about the time of the year right now. Obviously, our players have been working really hard up until this point to get on that floor and start our season. We're going to try to continue the momentum of our football program with Coach Taggart leading the way and the energy that he has going on in his program. And it's been a very, very good start. Very, very encouraged, working hard, a lot of new faces. We're a little bit banged up right now. We've got a few guys that really haven't practiced yet just because of injuries. So it's given our newcomers a lot of reps, which has actually been a good thing. So we're looking forward to getting everybody back in the fold these next couple of weeks, so we have a full roster and take advantage of the depth of this team right now. So that's the start.
Coaches will talk about rebuilding years or bridge years. I know with all of your youth, I mean, what kind of year are you looking at here? I mean, is it just a regular year? I mean, Khalil said, win the Sun Belt, go to the NCAA is the goal.
Well, yeah, I want the guys to have high expectations. We have high expectations, and right now, as you go into the preseason, our expectations are to get our program, get that energy back in our program, and get us playing at a high level in terms of the intensity and understanding and forming an identity for our program. And right now, I'm pleased that the players are understanding that defense is going to help us win basketball games, and our depth and our athleticism is going to help us win basketball games. So that's the starting point. Now, when it comes game time, you got to understand. We got to understand and take that jump on competing and carrying it over from practice to the games, and that's going to be a good test and a good moment for us on Saturday, where we can kind of see if we got that carryover. That's an important part of this next jump, and I think that's what the players are excited about too. Kind of get the court. We've been body on body now, and just about 9 or 10 guys in practice, and you're getting a lot of reps, but you kind of lose the fact that we're doing 2.5, 3 hour practices, that guys are getting pretty fatigued. Now in a game setting where they're not having to play that many minutes, I'm excited to see them in that kind of setting where they can play and play hard and play together.
Jamal said he was glad that there was nobody on the first 3 teams on preseason all-conference. They were picked to finish third because he doesn't want people talking. He's glad that no one's talking about the toppers right now. Your response to his response?
I wouldn't disagree with him. I mean, it's like a curse to be picked first. I told Coach Jarvis at FAU, all summer, I was like, you're going to get every vote. Good luck with it, because I've been in that spot, and I've been in the spot where we're picked third, and obviously the team has played with a chip on their shoulder, and that's not all a bad thing. If you look just statistically and how many players are juniors and seniors on those lists, you can understand why the picks are the way they are. It's not going to change our expectations. It's not going to change our goal, and it's not going to change our philosophy or our identity, those types of things. And I want the players. I want the players to understand and go out there and prove something, and that's part of what this season's about as well. And so I like the fact that those guys are excited of the challenge.
Coach, you have a lot of freshmen this year. You just talk about their development, and where do you think they can take this program during their time here?
Well, I think, first off, I think the veteran leadership is really important. I think there are guys that have put it in the book a little bit, and the guys that have college experience at this level. That's got to be the starting point. I think the rookies all have a lot of potential. I think you're going to have, at times, see lineups out there with 2, 3, 4 guys at a time that are very green, around the edges, and that's something that we're going to have to understand. That process is going to take a little time, but I'm equally as excited as each and every newcomer, because I think each one will play a role, and an important role. Some more than others. Some guys have coming in with some reputations. Now it's time to understand this level and put it in the book at this level. There they're all going to get a chance because they're all working hard. They're all buying in. I think that's a big part of what we're trying to get accomplished right now early, is setting that tone, forming that identity, and the buy-in factor, which is always a factor. It has been great. It has been great. There hasn't been the least bit of negative energy pulling us in the wrong direction. It's been all positive. I've been pleased with the progress. I'm excited about how hard they're working. We're trying to take it up a level each week. And then I think once we get to game time now, these newcomers will understand that there's a big difference in the levels once we start the games. So we got to get those guys progressing.
You mentioned that there's no negative energy. I guess what's different this year? Is it just the group of guys and their camaraderie, or just what's different this year than last year?
I think you just have to, when you have a new group, there's always going to be a challenge making sure that the chemistry is right, making sure that when we lay out expectations and goals that we're following those, and we just haven't had anything but positive energy with this group. When you're dealing with 18 to 22-year-old young men that are trying to attain their certain goals, whether it's play professionally, whether it's getting to the starting lineup, where they're coming from and what they used to do, those types of things, you're trying to put together the best group of guys on the floor that understand what you want as a team, guys that are willing to buy into a role and come in and do that. And we're having a lot of success with this group in that area. So.
After that first practice, you talked about how the chemistry was very strong, but you also said, let's see what happens when people get more minutes and you start to deviate, or separate roles and all that stuff. Have you seen that dwindle at all, or is the chemistry still, going strong?
We'll know more Saturday as that starts, but it's been great. It's been great, and I don't anticipate that changing. But it is always a challenge. It's a challenge for every team, to be honest. It's not specific to our team. Now, our team this year, I'm excited about the depth and what guys can bring to the table in the 9 through 11 spot. So that will be the challenge that starts to happen Saturday, and obviously going forward each and every day. You got to monitor that. You got to make sure that you're on top of that, and you got to make sure that you're selling those roles and how important those are. Championship teams, even from my first year here, we had guys that played very, very important roles coming off the bench, and we're going to have that if we have aspirations of being a top-tier team.
I know you guys have been teamed up a little bit, but do you have any idea what your starting five is going to look like?
I do. I won't share that with you right now, but obviously over a 2-week period of practice, we have started to come together with who's going to be in the lineup to start. I don't think that'll be that important with this group, because I think that a lot of guys will come off the bench and play significant minutes. And also, we're competing on a daily basis. If guys have a bad week this week, they'll quickly be out of that starting role. But we have a lot of guys that want to start, that are excited about and competing for those minutes, and that's always an exciting thing as a coaching staff as well. You got guys that night in and night out, they want to be in that lineup, and there's nothing wrong with that. I wanted to start when I was in college. That's just kind of the way it is. So pretty set, but a couple spots that could sway.
Which freshman do you see actually logging the most minutes? I mean, are you seeing Derek as obviously people will get Derek and they say he's the best freshman coming in. I mean, is he going to fill possibly a starting role? I mean, are you looking at him like that, or is he going to be a bench player starter?
It's hard to it's hard to say who's going to start or who's the best freshman. It really is. You got different positions, but I tell you who's been the 4 that kind of stand out in terms of how consistent they've been, and that's really what I'm looking for, that consistency. George Fant has really changed his body, and he's really doing a good job with his energy. Derek Gordon has come in. He's always trying to do the right things, and he's coming from a good program, so he has a great foundation. TJ Price has been one of the more consistent freshmen. Once again, changed his body. A year and a half ago, he's 255. You saw him now, you wouldn't believe it. He's probably 210, 208. So his motor has completely changed, and I have high expectations for him. And then Nigel Snipes. Nigel Snipes has been really, really consistent. He gives us kind of a mismatch in certain positions, and he's got great length and athleticism, and he's been a bit of a surprise in preseason camp. He really has. Not that we didn't know he was talented, but he's a little bit more advanced, picking up things than we thought, and he's doing a great job. So, not to say that any of the other rookies aren't doing good. Some guys have been a little hurt, and some of the veterans have been a little hurt, but those are the four that have kind of maybe separated themselves a little bit.
Those guys that were hurt, Kenny, Stephon Drain, and Khalil, how are they coming along, and just what's their progress like with their injuries?
It's been tough. Honestly, Khalil hurt himself the last workout, the last sprint of the preseason, just before practice started. And it's tough because he's really put himself in great shape. He worked really, really hard in the off season, so he's set back. He just started practicing the last couple days. So he's just getting back in the fold, and that takes time. Kenny Nebo, same thing. Really hasn't practiced yet, but the last couple days. And I have high expectations for Kenny. He's had a great off season. He's changed his body. He's dropped 20 pounds. Trying to think of who. Stephon Drain has not practiced yet. So once again, another veteran that we had good expectations for has not been in the fold whatsoever yet. So he's going to be coming back hopefully in a couple weeks to get into a full practice, shape. And who else? We have somebody else is injured. And Vinny Zolo is coming off of mono and had his appendix taken out. So he's had 2 weeks of practice, but no preseason. So it's great from a rep standpoint for the team, but it really does take away from the depth that we thought would be a strength of this team.
So Saturday, I guess, are you preparing to play without those guys, or the guys out of that group that you think might be able to come in and play Saturday in your scrimmage?
Well, I think there are a couple getting back in the mix right now, Kenny and Khalil. So we'll see how they do as the week goes on, but I'm sure you'll see them in some action. But I want them healthy for that first game, so that's more important than the exhibition. So we'll kind of see and monitor that as the week goes on. Stephon Drain you will not see. Vinny Zolo right now we'll have to. I think he's sick right now, so it's kind of day to day with him. You probably see him, but once again you'll see a lot of new guys regardless of who's out.
Coach, what does Derek bring to your team, and what more does he have to work on to become the kind of player you think he can be?
First of all, he loves being here. He is committed to us 3 years ago, and I just love the fact that he is excited about being a Hilltopper. That means a lot to me. It means a lot to him. And those are the kinds of guys you got to have in your program, and I really feel like we have that right now. And as a young player, he brings a good amount of experience and athleticism for just a rookie. He has very, very good length. He could be a lockdown defender. When he learns technique and where we want him on the floor, positioning, those types of things, he's really going to be a heck of a defender. On the offensive end, he's really worked on his shot and extending his range. So that's part of his game. That as he gets to stretch the defense, I think his drive game will really take off. But he's a very, very physical guard. He gets fouled, he gets in there, he mixes it up on the offensive glass. He can defend anybody. He's got a high motor, high energy. So I'm expecting those things early, and I expect his offensive game to kind of develop as the year goes on.
Have you found one person that can score the ball for you on a consistent basis?
Orlando Mendez Valdez. He's in Mexico, flying in.
Does he have eligibility left?
I don't know about that. He only played 1 year for me. That's why I'm going off. There's a lot of guys actually that can score, but we have some guys that have to develop and understand where we want them to score. We want to help each other score, and we want to move the ball better than we did a year ago. We just had a lot of we stopped the ball way too much, whether it was just dribble or just trying to go one-on-one, and we got to help each other score. That's how we're really talking to the guys and working on the offense and moving the ball. And once again, much more skilled group than a year ago. A lot better passers than a year ago. I think our offense is going to flow better in that regard in terms of what you saw a year ago. So mismatches at the 4. I think Kenny can really cause people problems. I think George Fant can really cause people problems. Obviously, Tang is a true traditional center that gives you that look. I think Okaro, I think Nigel Snipes, really hard to stay in front of at the 4, really skilled at the 4. So those types of lineups, I think, will make for better offense. And all those guys can pass the ball. All those guys can really pass the ball. So that will help the offense go.
Does your team have a certain identity? I mean, I know it's early, or the early games can be used to find that.
This team really likes each other. I think you're going to see a team that has a lot more energy and enthusiasm about how they're playing. I think this team will have an identity that they play hard, and that's what we've talked about from day one. I think when people walk away, they'll see a team that competed for a long period of time, and that's the goal. And as we get better and get back healthy, I think we can have a long line of guys that contribute into the basketball game that makes it look like our energy on the floor is good all the time. That's the goal. That's the goal. That's how we're going to win basketball games on the defensive end. That's how we're going to win on the offensive end. So hard work, and that's going in right now. Now we got to translate it to the game.
What do you think about George wearing 44 this year? Obviously, the number of all.
When that first came up, I didn't want. I was excited because George's one of my all-time favorite kids to be around. He is a wonderful kid. It's hard to be mad at him because when he messes up, he's just so nice and he's so genuine. So when he came to me with that thought, I really appreciate the thought, and I think it's exciting for fans and him. But it's also a lot of pressure on a young player like that, and I think he's embraced it. I really do. I think he's embraced it. I think he's excited about it. I'm excited about it for him. I know Jim is really, really excited about it. So, that's the starting point. I messed with George. I said, George, what if you score, 400 points in your career? Just kind of messing with him, and he just laughed. That's George. He's just a great kid, fun-loving kid, but he's really excited. He's really excited about his own, family and fan base around here, being able to see him play and really getting us back on track, to be honest. He's excited about it.
Coach, you have your guys are going to Charleston pretty quick into the season. What do you think that tournament is going to tell you about this team?
I think every time out, it's going to be about pride. Are we getting better? Are we competing, and are we getting better? And you got a good field. You got a good field. I think it's going to show us real quick. I want our guys night in, night out to go in with expectations of competing and winning basketball games. And that's a great test because you got conferences from all over the country in that tournament, and some potentially we could play twice. VCU or St. Joe's. So we're going to go after that tournament with expectations going in there. One game at a time, but that's an opportunity early in the season to win a championship. And that's what we're going to talk about and go in with the expectations of.
First exhibition game this Saturday. What do you try to do, or what are you looking for on Saturday? All out effort,
just all out effort. I want the carryover on the defensive end. I want the carryover in terms of the teamwork on the offensive end, and I want that. You'll hear us talk about teamwork, pride, toughness. Those are the three things that you better see if you're watching our basketball program, and we're gonna hold ourselves to that standard.
Anything else for Coach today? All right.